Hello, and welcome to my channel, Knotty Gnome Crafts. My name is Sarah, and you can find me as Knotty Gnome on Instagram. If this is your first time viewing my channel, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a mishmash of things. First, I'm going to share a few patterns that I have acquired, and then I'm going to talk about my January sewing plans, and at the end of the video, I'm going to talk to you about my fabric stash reorganization. Before we get started, I am wearing a Sew House 7 toaster sweater that I made out of a quilted knit that I got from Surge Fabrics. And yeah, let's just get into the video. So just as a sort of a philosophy moving forward into 2022, my plan right now is that I don't really intend to have a lot of purchases to be sharing haul videos every month. And so what I've decided to do is I think I'm going to try to combine anything that I've acquired in the previous month with my sewing plans for the coming month. So that is going to be a combo video that I'm just going to do once a month, and hopefully I can stick to that and I don't have just tons and tons of acquisitions to be sharing with you. So for today's video, I did want to share a few patterns that I have picked up at the very end of the year. And the first one is something that I got from eBay. It's an out-of-print pattern, Simplicity 2451. It's a skirt pattern that has two different views, and then there's several different lengths. So all of the skirts have slash pockets. They have kind of a wide, rounded waistband. And then you have like a more flowy A-line version, and then you have a straight skirt version. So the reason that I hunted this down on eBay and picked it up is actually because I used to own this pattern. And I made both versions. I made both this version here, and then I also made this shorter version. And this short one was out of a wool suiting that I had completely lined. And that was my favorite skirt. I wore that skirt for years. I absolutely loved it. The only reason that I got rid of that skirt and this pattern is because my weight changed and it no longer fit me. So since the pattern and the skirt no longer fit me anymore, I just got rid of the pattern. I probably just threw it away because, you know, once the pattern's been cut, I feel like I can't really resell it. So yeah, I got rid of that pattern. I didn't have it, but I was remembering this skirt and how much I really liked it because it does have the pockets, and I just think the style really suits me. I like wearing shorter skirts in the winter because I can layer them with tights. And so I just went ahead and hunted it down on eBay and picked up another copy because I do think that if I remake the skirt in a size that fits me right now, that I would get a lot of wear out of it. And I even would try this A-line version again. The first one that I made years ago, like I didn't really like it because I used a fabric that was too stiff. But I do think that if I used something like a rayon, I might actually like this version too. So the other two patterns that I picked up were from the Pattern Emporium Boxing Day sale. So they had a 30% off sale off all of their patterns. And I went ahead, I actually picked up two patterns that have been on my wish list for quite a few months. So this was not an impulse decision. The Keep It Simple Babe tee is my favorite t-shirt pattern. I've made it so many times already, and so I do have a little bit of trust in the pattern company that I feel like it works for me. And so I went ahead and I picked up the Endless Summer tee. So it's similar to the Keep It Simple Babe. There's lots of different options, but it's basically like a tank top, or you can do like a cap sleeve shirt, or you can do a flutter sleeve, which I'm not going to do a flutter sleeve. But the other versions I thought provided enough variety with the number of different necklines that I do think I would get a lot of use out of that pattern, especially in the spring and summer. So I went ahead and picked up that pattern. And then the other pattern that I got from them is I think it's called the With Love poncho. And I bought this pattern because I actually had a ready-to-wear poncho from a few years back that I really loved. The only reason that I got rid of it was because it was not good quality fabric, and so it pilled and it just didn't last very long. But I really did like the style, and the style was very similar to the Pattern Emporium poncho. And I decided that I would go ahead and buy that pattern because I do think that it's versatile. There's quite a number of views that you can make, and I thought that it would work for trans-seasonally. Like I could make a version for winter out of a heavier sweater knit or sweatshirt fleece or something. And then I could also make more of a t-shirt weight version, which is what my original ready to wear was. I think it was like some sort of rayon type jersey. And I really liked that one for wearing in the summertime, just when it gets chilly in the evenings, just kind of throw it on over a tank top with shorts or something like that. So I went ahead and picked up that pattern as well. Now moving on to my January sewing plans. If you watched my video where I talked about my intentions for 2022, and if you missed it, I'll link it up in the cards. I really want to take a step back with my plans and think about them for a little bit longer to make sure I'm not making impulse decisions. And I also really wanted to limit myself. So I've decided that for my plans videos, or the plans that I make every month, I'm going to limit myself to a maximum of 3 things. And if I make more than 3 things, that's fine, but I think giving myself a maximum of 3 is just a good starting point to where I'm really thinking hard and thoughtfully and carefully about what I need in my wardrobe and what I want to do, and not just like making this huge long list of things like, well, I'd like this and like this, but I'm not really considering whether it's going to work for my life and my wardrobe. So this month in January, I only have 2 plans. The first one is not even really a finished garment. I am taking a class from Fabric Mart at the end of January about pants fitting, and so my first goal, or my first plan for the month of January, is just to keep up with the class homework. I think the point of the class is we're going to be making several muslins to try to fit pants to our bodies, and I think by the end of the class you're supposed to be ready to cut your final, cut your pattern out of your garment fabric. So yeah, I'm not even looking to make an actual finished pair of pants. I just want to keep up with the fitting and the muslins, however many I need to make, and that is my first plan for January. My second plan for January is I really want to make a couple of long sleeve crew neck t-shirts. I've mentioned in the past that I really need more fitted high neck shirts in my wardrobe because I get very cold where I live, and I don't like having open necks like scoop necks or v-necks because my chest gets cold, and so if I have a top with that sort of neckline, I end up having to wear a scarf or a shawl, and so that completely defeats the purpose of even having an open neck. And I also like the more fitted tops because they're easier to layer. So I am not 100% sold on these particular fabrics, but they are definitely candidates for shirts that I want to make. And because the kitchen renovation is still going on and I'm still not actually sewing at all right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to these things or not, but if I don't, I can easily roll this plan over into February because I'm still going to need these things because where I live in Western New York, winter stays until like May. So the fabrics that I pulled for this, the first one is, I think this is, the color might be called vanilla or cream or something. It's not a pure white, it's more like a soft white. This is a cotton bamboo jersey, or maybe it's cotton modal. I think it's cotton modal mixed jersey from Style Maker Fabrics. I actually bought enough of this to make a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt. So I'm just gonna make the long sleeve. And I'm gonna use my favorite pattern, the pattern Emporium Keep It Simple Babe Tee. I'm gonna do the crew neck version. And I'm undecided right now if I wanna do cuffs or just hem the sleeves. Yeah, I'll figure that out later, but I definitely could use a nice solid white t-shirt in my wardrobe because I actually don't have one right now. I have a white turtleneck, but I don't have a white crew neck. So that's the first thing on the list. And then the second fabric, this is a wool jersey that I got from the fabric store during their Black Friday sale. I have a few different wool jerseys in my stash now from the fabric store, and I want to make some long sleeve tops because the wool will be very useful for where I live for layering. And so this one it's kind of a pinky red and a white stripe. And yeah, I think just a simple crew neck tee with long sleeves will be an excellent addition to my wardrobe. I do have some solids of wool jersey that I could use instead. I might switch that out, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, definitely a couple of crew neck shirts for January. So the last thing that I have to talk to you about is I had promised that I was going to show you a little tour of my fabric now that I have reorganized it. I actually just finished doing it 10 minutes ago. right before I started filming this video, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's not perfect. So first I'm going to pop up a picture of the before of what my fabric stash looked like. Now keep in mind, these are only my garment fabrics. My quilting fabrics are actually downstairs in a different location. So these are only the fabrics that are meant for sewing clothing. And I am not including my smaller scrap leftover pieces. Everything on these shelves is large enough to make a garment. So I do have some pieces that are left over from making other things, but there was enough fabric left that, like, you know, if I made a t-shirt but I have enough left to make a tank top, or I made a pair of pants but I have enough left to make a skirt or a pair of shorts. So let's say like a minimum of 3/4 of a yard to a yard of fabric is what is on these shelves. My other smaller scraps that, you know, I could combine color block or make bias tape or pockets or facings, those are all like tucked away in like plastic storage bins. So I didn't actually take pictures of those, but that's in a different place. So originally, because I bought so much fabric during Black Friday, I was just, you know, washing it, folding it, and like kind of throwing it on the shelves wherever it would go. And it got to the point where I just couldn't even see what I had because the shelves were just stuffed so full. So what I did was I roughly organized things. I pulled out all of the shelves and I went ahead and rolled my fabrics. I got this idea from Teresa of Lost My Thread when she did her fabric reorganization. I thought that the rolling was a good idea because it would take up less space. I think Teresa might have like tied all of her bundles with like twine or something. And I didn't do that because I just didn't want to. I felt like it would be a huge pain in the neck and it would drive me nuts. So I didn't do that part. So my bundles are not as neat as hers. My system does have a flaw in that if I pull too many things out of my shelves, everything's gonna collapse. So it's not great. Like I said, it's not a perfect solution. However, because everything is rolled and stacked, at least I can see what I have now and nothing is sort of hidden or buried behind other things. So I think it is a big improvement from what I had previously, which was, to be fair, not really organized at all. But, you know, it is what it is. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to be the best that I can do for now. So I did take some video. Hopefully I've been showing it to you of just kind of a pan of what it looks like. And I'll put up the static picture and we'll talk about, you know, kind of roughly how things are organized from top to bottom. So on the top shelf, I have my wool pieces. There's wool suiting and wool coatings. There's not too many of those. The next shelf down is like heavier bottom weights. So I have things like corduroy, flannel, denims. I think that's pretty much what that entire shelf is. The next shelf down are my lighter weight wovens. And so I have things like rayons, silks, cottons, linens. There's quite a lot of fabric on that shelf, but because it's not as bulky as the bottom weights, it doesn't look like there's as much, but there's a lot of fabric there. The next shelf down from that is my light to medium weight knits. And so I have them kind of roughly organized from like rib knits to jerseys. And I have them kind of organized by type, like content. So things like, you know, all the cottons are together and all of the rayons are together and things like that. Then the bottom shelf are the heavyweight knits. So things like French terry, sweatshirting, ponte. I have a little bit of fleece, but not a whole lot. And yeah, again, similar to the woven bottom weights, that shelf is pretty full because that stuff is just bulkier, but there's actually not too many pieces there. So yeah, that's how I reorganized my fabric stash. Hopefully it's going to serve me well. I think that it will definitely be better than it was before. And hopefully it won't make too much of a mess once I start actually pulling things out and using them. So yeah, I would love to hear in the comments how you organize your fabric. Do you have to like keep reorganizing it? Because that's what I see myself doing, is like I'll pull things out and use them, stuff will get messy, I'll have to like, you know, kind of shift things around and roll things up again. Maybe I should do the twine thing, I don't know, it just seems like such a pain. But yeah, I'd love to hear other ideas of how you organize your fabric stash and also what your sewing plans are for January. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate that you take time out of your day to watch my videos. If you liked it, I will hope you will hit the like button and please consider subscribing to my channel. I'll see you again next time.